Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 16th, which is this white line, to June 20th, which is this line. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from June 9th through the 13th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Tsly. We ended the week at $8.28, up 1.22%. To the north side takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area at roughly 849. Above that, another level of resistance takes us to 864. And should we be so lucky as to get to 4 standard deviations, that would be roughly $8.79. I don't anticipate we get to this level on Monday. But if we do and we wick up there, you know there will be a sell-off as people take their profits and they run, they will lock in and they will leave. To the south side takes us back to the middle of the trend, which is this line at 820. This is one level of support. We could bounce off of this line or chop sideways or possibly continue this pattern down on the 5. -2 standard deviations, which is another level of support and another potential buy-in area. Depends on what line that you bought in previously, what side of the line. That's roughly 790, that's roughly 775, and 760. Looking left, we have a gap. Oh, we have a gap that closed right out of the gate here on Monday. It's hard to see because this line is in the way. Let me move it. You can see that this gap, which was an anticipated move down to 766, touched right there, and then we have this tiny gap to the south side that will take us to 780. But this one closed, so that is no longer in play. Delete. And oops, we have this gap that will take us down to 732. And another gap that will take us to 705. I did buy in previously at $7, 793 as well, and then I just picked up some more at 829, so I'm basically flat. It dropped on Friday down 5 or 6%, so I just bought some more. All right, what else happened? So again, we're in a downward channel. This is the middle of the trend. Last week we were right, let me clean this up, Monday, Friday, there. We ended here. So from here to up here, we are at least going upward as far as the middle of the trend or the median, but in general, we are still going down. This gap closed to the south side, also right there, touched. No longer a threat to our account to the south side. If you went short, you hit it, so congrats. And what else? This gap is still in play for the upcoming week to 870. This one will take us to 895. And this one will take us to 988. Of course, the market kind of tanked because of the war with Iran, between Israel and Iran, so that's not good for anyone. And the market did not like that either, so it went down. In general, Tsly was up, but mostly the market was down. So the next one I want to go over is Boeing. I think that's it for Tsly, yeah. But oh, note this. So the low point of Tsly was around here for the week. So we went from here to here. That is a 14% return in 1 week. You know it's not going to keep and hold that level. Of course not. There's always going to be ups and downs within the week. So that was a good area to get out near resistance. All right, Boeing. I'm going to start blazing through this here. Oops. Let me reset. Oops. Delete that. All right, we are still in a downward channel also for Boeing from here to here. This is the middle of the trend at roughly 197, but the middle of the trend at the end of the week could take us to 175. So keep that in mind unless there's a reversal. But first, your price targets for Monday at 2 standard deviations, 202.60, 205.07, and then back to an area we've been to before at 207.90. To the south side, it is right here now. 197.37, support here, 191.93, buy-in area, 189.39, and to an area we've been to before, 186.52-ish. This gap opened up. This opportunity to the upside will take us to 203. Note the bounce here at support, right on this line that I drew previously. And when did I draw that? I drew that on Friday, May 9th. So we just retraced back to that area. And this gap, oops, Option R to reset. All right, this gap touched on Friday, June 13th. So that is no longer a threat at 198.61, 62-ish. Okay, and it started there. So basically, look at this retracement here. Ooh, from here, we went all the way up to go down, and then a bounce. So from here, this gap to this, oops, to this area was a 10% return. Let me delete this red line here, this price label, excuse me. Oh, yeah, see, it looked like it touched here, but it didn't. See? So that's done, though. And to the upside, we touched here. This was an anticipated move to the upside, and we touched on Monday the 9th. And you know, it's not going to hold. That's resistance. Profit taking here. But that 217 opened up. Oh, my goodness. Wow. If you were in this for the long haul. Okay, it's just easier if I take this to the hour so I can see this better. 217 was here. That opened up on January the 16th. So congrats. Let me delete that. 217.69. Delete. And this is still in play to 222.66. Let me just delete this one. Okay, that's the next target, or a target. I have to go back and clean up my chart. And then this 210 also hit, so let me go back to, let's go to the 15. So this target is still in play. This one is still in play. This one is still in play to 222, but this one, oh yeah, so that one touched right there. 210, delete. 210.94, delete. Delete. Wow, we have a gap within a gap. Let me just take it back to the hour because so many of these gaps closed. Yeah, I have not gone back in a long time. Okay, this 209 touched right there on May the 28th. Wow, yeah, I have not cleaned up this chart in a very long time. 210, let me delete that. There goes making these videos short. That's done. 207.89. You get the picture. I'll clean this up later. 209.24. See, the 52-week high is 218. This one closed as well as these. And then down here, oh my goodness, yep. Look at this retracement all the way from here back all the way. It's like a U-shaped recovery, but it's hard to tell because I haven't pulled the bottom up. But close enough. Okay, let's move on. This one looks, see, when you mark it off on a different time frame, it doesn't line up with the 5, and that's where I like to clean everything up. So the next target to the south side is 184.08. This one is done. Yeah, that touched, so 198. This one's done as well. Delete. Delete. Okay, now I'm going to move on. Intel. What is happening with Intel? All right, we are here at 2014 to the north side. 2096, 2133, and don't hold your breath, 2171. Oh, the middle of the trend takes us back basically to an area we've been before when I marked out 2024, and that was just last week. So we've basically ended where we were for the middle of the trend last week. But look at this. This massive ride up, voila, and then a slam back down. So I'm going to delete this line because it interferes with my current line. I'll just move it up right there. And that looks good. It's to the south side, back to an area we've been. 1949, 1912, and roughly 1874. This gap closed out of the gate on Monday. Just did it really touch, or did it appear to have closed? No, I'm not going to give that a win. Look at that. That did not touch. That is still in play to the south side. Okay, that takes us to 2003. And will we touch that on Monday? Yeah, I think so. That's an easy one to the south side. And this gap is still in play to the upside. I'll just mark that right now. I will change the color later. 2073. This is still in play to 2202. This gap is still in play. Bounce off of the support line here. Resistance here, falling down to support, and then back up, and then back down. Right? The 52-week high is 37 bucks. Next one, Rivn. Option R to reset. Middle of the trend. Let's mark it out. The median here is now 1345, 1374, 1388, 1402. To the south side, this line I marked out in 2024 at 1316, 1303, and roughly 1287. We've got a gap that will take us to 1274, still in play, still going down. This gap will take us to roughly 1417. This gap opened up. We tanked to the south side, which means we will retrace if you like to go long. Right there, that will take us to roughly 1388. Price is just grinding down along the screen line, but hopefully we'll go sideways to reverse. Oh, and then we've got this gap all the way up here, down the road, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. And then this gap to the south side, taking us to roughly 1137. Next, Nike. We were rebounding and then got slammed. All right, to the north side. Resistance, 60.77. The middle of the trend, 61.45, 62.13, 62.38 roughly, 62.79. We've got a gap that will take us to 57.25. Then we have another gap here that will take us to 58.39. And then this gap, it looked like it touched. It did not. So this is still in play to 60.07. This one, fortunately, did close right, excuse me, there at 62.01. Let me get some water. Oh, that's a different, that line I may have bought in a long time ago. I'll have to look at that again. Okay, so that gap is done. And then we have a gap here to 65. Almost touched it, but not quite. 62.78. That one was 64.85, and we hit that on June 10th. Got many other gaps to the north side and still in a downward channel, as you can see. Oh, the middle of the trend last week is here, and then it is here for this upcoming week. So slightly up, even though we're in a downward channel. Option R. Okay, to the north side, resistance 67.53. I'm going to mark out this line, 68.47, 69.43, 69.92, 70.40, 67.02, 66.56. This gap closed to the south side. Congrats if you went short from this area. We went up to then fill it to the downside. 68.57. It's where we touched. The middle of the trend was here last week, and now we are here. So an uptick, even though we're going down. Then we've got this one to deal with as well. This is support. We could touch here, here, and then bounce off of that. Resistance, sell off, sell off, sell off. And Sofi, last one. Thank goodness. It's a lot of them. It's a mouthful. All right. Where are we? 1409. Oh, one thing I want to do with Estee Lauder while I remember this. So we're so close to this line before the middle of the trend. Oops, where did it go? I scrolled too quickly. So the middle of the trend is here. This line I've already marked out, so close to it, and I marked that out on May 30th. So let's delete that so it doesn't clog up my chart too much. Yes, this clogs it up. I don't need it. I'm just showing this to you. And then when I keep it, I also anticipate bounces off of those purple lines, which then turn into support or resistance. Okay, Sofi. Not doing so fine. All right, we are here at 1409. To the north side, the middle of the trend is here. I sold out at 1457 previously and at 1459. I didn't mean to buy two of these in separate lots, and I did because I have sticky fingers. Okay, now the middle of the trend is going to be a hot mess in the middle of that. 1458. And then the next target, 1532. And don't hold your breath for this level just yet, 1570. To the south side, 1383, 1347, and 1310. Let's take a look at the gaps. This gap, we gapped down, so then it will fill whenever at 1488. And I sold some I got rid of some. I wanted to get rid of this and then it ran more. At the time, this was near 2 standard deviations, I believe. And the calculations are always moving. And it went higher even, but that's okay. I got out. I'm glad I got out because look at that, bled out. And then we closed this one to 1444, no longer a landmine, to the south side. Touch right there, and then this one tickled this area but did not close. That will take us down to 370. So what happened? Oh no, I didn't buy more. I'm gonna try to buy more. Maybe I did set my buy-in order here at 1370, but we never hit it last week. So I'll have to set it again and see if we will. And I think that is it. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 16th through the 20th. All right, and this is my public service announcement. Thank you for taking a look at that. If there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know. And have a great trading week.